All right, people, I've had a couple questions in class about finding the common difference, so I want to make sure I give you that. I'm going to do two or three more videos on the recursive rule and the explicit rule in a second for arithmetic sequences. But first, I wanted to make sure that you guys all have the common difference. How do you find the common difference? Okay, so sometimes if you can see what the common difference is in a sequence of numbers, then I'm okay with you just saying, well, what's the difference between 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3, and then 3 and 4? And so this one, it's pretty straightforward. You're counting by 1, right? So you're adding 1 each time, so it's plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. Well, let's say it wasn't so easy that you could just look at it and say, oh, well, the common difference is 1. Okay, positive 1. What if you had to do some actual math with it in subtraction? So you're going to take that second term and you're going to subtract the first term from it. And 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, which makes sense because our common difference is 1. Then you're going to take the third term and you're going to subtract the second term from it. So 3 minus 2 is 1. And then you're going to take the last term and 4, and you're going to subtract the 1 right before it. Minus 3 is 1. So our common difference is 1. And we showed it in a couple ways here. So we either add 1 each time, or we take the second term and subtract the first one, the third one and subtract the last one, the fourth one and subtract the last one. So that's the basics of how you find the common difference, right? So let's say on this one, it's 3. So 30 plus 3 is 33. 33 plus 3 is 36. 36 plus 3 is 39. So let's say that you wanted to use this method right here, the subtraction method of finding the common difference. You're going to take the second number, or the second term, 33, and you're going to subtract the first term from it. So minus 30. Well, 33 minus 30 is 3. You're going to then look at the third term, and you're going to subtract the second one from it. So we've got 36. So we're going to subtract the last one, minus 33. And so we've got 3. Then we're going to take our last one and subtract the one right before it. So every single time we're subtracting the one right before it. So 39 minus 36 equals 3. And so our common difference, or D, equals 3. Okay? So our next one, I want to make sure that we get some negatives in there because I know there was some confusion about subtracting with the double negatives and like what does that mean? Why are you adding it? So I want to make sure I at least get that solved here. So we're going to do all of these. We're going to work all the way through this one so that you can see that each time we should be getting the same answer. And our common difference is, I'm going to give you the answer to start with. It is negative 2. So we should get negative 2 on each of these. So we're going to take our first one, or our second one, sorry, and we're going to subtract the first one from it. So 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5, there's more negatives than positives. So, and how many more negatives are there? There's 2 more negatives. So we've got our common difference of negative 2. We're going to take the second one. So we've got 1 minus 3. So all I've done is saying 1 minus 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. There's 2 more negatives than positives. So now we're getting into our negatives here, right? So we've got negative 1. So that's this negative 1 minus the positive 1. And there's 2 negatives there. So I have 1 negative here, 1 negative here. There's a total of 2 negatives. And then we're going to do our last one here. And we've got negative 3 minus negative 1. So you're going to end up having 2 negatives in here. So we've got negative 3. That's this negative 3 right here. We're going to subtract. All right, so that's this symbol staying the same. But this is negative 1. So you've got to have your double negative there. Okay? And so when we look at it that way, this is really saying the opposite of negative 1. Well, the opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. And so negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple more of those. If I wanted to keep the sequence going, I could say that my next one's gonna be -5. And so let's try it one more so that we can see exactly what we're doing here. So we've got -5. So I'm taking this one right here, and we're gonna subtract -3. So this really, again, says the opposite of -3, which is +3. So -5 plus 3 is -2. And you can see that we got -2 each time. Okay. So let's try one that is all negatives now. Okay. So we're going to look for our common difference. Okay. I suggest that you pause the video right now and you try to find the common difference and then compare it and start the video again. So take a second, pause the video. Okay. All right, welcome back. And you're gonna have -10, so we're gonna take our second term, -10, and we're gonna subtract -5. Okay, so there's two negatives there, and the opposite of -5 is +5. So we have 10 negatives, we've got 5 positives, so we have 5 more negatives than positives. Okay, so let's do another one. We're gonna do -15. And we're going to subtract -10. So there's that double negative again. So we're subtracting -10, so it becomes a positive. So I've got 5 more negatives than positive, so we've got -5. So I think you can start seeing that our common difference is -5 here. And so we're going to do our last one here. So -20 minus, okay, oops, sorry, I messed that up. Let me back up here. So we've got -15. So we're gonna do, oh no, that was right. So -20 minus -15. Okay, so we're gonna take this guy, subtract this one. And we've got a double negative, so it becomes positive, and we've got -5 again. Okay, sorry about that little mess up, but nobody's perfect. Okay, so I tried to go slower in this video, just showing you the basics of how to find the common difference. That's the first step that you're gonna have to use for finding the explicit rule or the recursive rule. In the next video, I'm gonna show you a couple of examples of just developing the explicit rule and the recursive rule, okay? So I'll see you guys in a minute.